What's up guys, Julian here, and today I am going to be making a hard melodic rave techno track from scratch. You guys have asked me for this one for a while. You just heard the track that we're going to be making in the intro. Today you can see, I've got this blank project file and we're going to be going from scratch and build this track from the ground up. To do this, I'm going to be using my new pack called Hardest Rave Techno Kick plus Drum Loops Volume 1. The link is right at the top of the description. Definitely go grab that. It's got this really solid collection of samples and loops and project files, plus some bonus synths as well that you can use to make these tracks and really take your production to the next level. You know, it's a super high quality library here that you can instantly leverage to make better tracks. I'm going to be using it for this video. The link is at the top of the description. Definitely go grab it. Again, it's one thing you can do right now that will instantly take your tracks to the next level today. I promise you will see a big difference between before this and after buying this. So, link is at the top of the description. That's what I'm going to be using to make this track today. And let's dive in, guys. Alright, so here we are. We got a blank project file, and right away we're going to take it up to 142 BPM. And whenever I'm making a track like this, I always recommend that you start with the kick and then the bass. If you try to do it in a different order, like let's say you start with like the background drums or like a synth motif or like an FX sample or something like that, you're gonna get kind of lost. Like then what's gonna happen is that's how you kind of make those tracks where you're always sitting there tweaking the project file, but for some reason you can never really just get it to have a solid enough foundation to move forward. That's why. It's because you're not starting with the foundation. So, we're going to start with the kick. I'm going to grab one of these kicks out of this pack. Again, link for this pack is at the top of the description. So, let's grab this kick. And you can see, this is just going to be a nice, punchy, very fat sounding kick already. You'll notice there's no processing on this though. That's the thing. Right, so again, this is why I'm using this pack, is because it has what you want here, which is essentially just really solid samples right out of the gate, right? We have this kick, you know, we're going to get like a bass here as well from this one. And we'll grab this mid layer too. And you can see like with this kick, you know, we're not having to do all this extra processing. It's just a nice punchy kick. You know, and then we'll go on to the bass. I'll explain what's going on with this bass in a moment, but first, we're just going to sidechain it. Maybe tweak it a little bit. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to drag this kick down to the bass and see if we can use that for... Alright, there we go. So we got a solid kick and bass. Again, this is the perfect way to start because now we have a good kick that we're not like, oh, maybe later I can add some saturation or compression to it. No, it's just a good sample, no processing, that's just going to sound super solid. We have our bass, which is made with the same kick, right? It's just doing 16th notes, and then you can see it's got this effect rack here. So basically, we're low passing the kick, and then we're putting it into this multi-band distortion. That's what this is. So we got the lows, or the highs, the mids with a bit of distortion, and then the lows, and then it's just being sidechained. We got an EQ to cut out the frequencies that you can't hear, and also cut out some of the highs, and then we're just converting it to mono. And now we have a really strong foundation. Right, and now anything we put on top of this is going to be pretty solid pretty much. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a nice open hi-hat and a snare, right? So now again, we're just moving up to the next kind of like foundational things. Like now it's like the main drum groove. I'll grab this one too. Again, these are just from this pack. If you like what you hear, all of these samples are available at the top of the description. And let's try a different hi-hat. You know, the thing is, there's no one perfect hi-hat. It's just, you gotta try a few different ones and see what works best in the groove you're working on. nice groove going. Now is the place where we could probably bring in a bit of synth. Right, let's get like a nice synth melody here. And I'm going to copy the sidechain on from the bass too. And as a matter of fact, let's just take the MIDI for this pattern that you're hearing. And I'm going to get a wavetable here. And we're going to make our own synth. And then we'll copy that sidechain one more time, actually. But yeah, so again, we're just walking up essentially up the like spectrum of how important these things are in the track, right? And you got to know that going into it. You got to know, like, okay, the kick and the bass are really a lot of what you're hearing here, right? And then we need to get those main drums. And then once you have those, then you can go and actually get like a nice synth line in there. But if you try to do it out of order, I think that's really when people get lost. Alright, so we got the synth. Give it some unison. Let's turn the filter down. Put this envelope on the filter. Let's put it up an octave. A bit of echo. I'm going to cut out the low end on the echo using the filter down here. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. We can also give this a little bit of reverb, but not too much, right? Just like a little atmosphere there. I'm also going to do a bit of drum bus on this to make it kind of fatter too. And then blend that. A bit of EQ. Alright, cool. So we're just kind of getting that main steady thing going. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to grab another wavetable and we're going to make like a bass synth. But the thing here is this is our bass line, right? Like that's the actual low sub bass is that rumble. But we want a bass over that, which is not going to be clashing because it's not going to play those like really, really low sub frequencies. It's just going to be like a nice, powerful chord progression, essentially. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a saw wave here in wavetable. And this is actually going to be a pretty simple patch. We're going to do that, and then we're going to make a little instrument rack here. Duplicate this, and it's going to be the same patch, but with a bunch of unison. Alright, so now we have this really fat bass sound. And we're going to put an arpeggiator on here, so it's doing 16th notes. So we get like one of these. Turn the gate up a little bit. Right, that sounds pretty nice. And that's going to help it fit, I think, over that other bass as well. Because it's not going to be as like on top of it. We're also going to put a high pass filter on this. And this is what's really going to make sure that this doesn't clash with that other bass. Is just making sure we cut out the actual low lows on this. And then we'll also take this utility and convert the bass to mono. Because see, it's a lot more powerful that way. Even though we're not using the low frequencies, still like just converting the bass to mono will go a long way. Cool. So now let's put in some notes. So we're in the key of D minor here. Alright, so this is a nice little progression. What we're doing here is 1, 6, 4. So we're doing our root note, right? This D sharp minor chord. Then it's a B major. And then a G sharp minor, which is the 4th. So musically it's not that complicated. But see, it goes really well with that lead. Now we need to copy the sidechain on there for sure. And also, this needs to be a lot fatter. Obviously, this isn't really it just yet. So what we're going to do is just a quick multi-band distortion. We'll get EQ3. We'll do the highs, the mids, and then the lows. Also, let's turn that gate up a little bit. Just like that. Cool. So we're going to go to the highs. That's going to be a bit of pedal, which will blend. Mids will be a bit of amp. And then we'll keep the lows clean. So we go from this to this, which is obviously a lot fatter. And kind of fills this out a bit better. Now, the last thing that we're missing in this groove to really bring this track to life is we need that mid-range kind of crunchy rave loop type of percussion. Now, I'm going to bring in one of these. So these are also from the same pack that I'm using here. And these are these rave loops. Right? Like, we need like this. Right? And maybe even another one, like maybe something like that with it too. And see, that's that last like mid-rangey kind of almost breakbeat style percussion. Now, usually these in the old days were just like one loop you drag in just like this. What I've done actually is I've taken these and I've split them into all the individual layers. And in this pack, you have that. There's all these individual audio files plus the Ableton files for these. So I'm actually going to drag these in and I'll show you, or I'll drag one of them in the full Ableton file. And I'll show you everything that's going on there. And I'll explain why this is that last really important thing before we go here. So, this is that loop 2 you just saw I had up there. This is all the individual layers for that, right? So you can see it's all of these little things. Like we have this groove going with this kind of like a more chill ghost kick and snare that are adding actually a lot to the groove, but not actually that fat on their own, right? Also this hi-hat, but then there's also like these rolls. And you can hear that playing off of this deep percussion. And then this mid percussion, so it all comes together and creates that one kind of like kind of percussion like you hear. And now it's just to get it to not clip, as you can see. So yeah, so there it is. So that is how you would make a track like this from scratch. Again, I just want to make this video showing you guys how to go from a blank project file all the way to a finished professional sounding track. So that is how you would do it. Only thing left to do is just arrange this out. So thank you so much for all the support, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get all of these samples, literally everything that you saw in this video, plus a whole lot more, is available right at the top of the description on my website. Go grab this, guys. This is a really great way to support me. Again, these are all really solid samples. I'll just play you a few of them really quickly. So you can see it's the best resource for super high quality kick and bass, plus drums, plus percussion, plus even some synth loops. It's literally got everything you need to make a track in the style. Don't miss out, guys, while it's still available. This is one of the best values on the market. Honestly, I'm crazy for doing this, but I want to make it accessible so that you guys can get this and really make the best possible tracks. This isn't about me making money. This is about you guys making your best possible tracks, and about sort of taking this stuff that used to be very shrouded in mystery and hard to attain and making it something that you guys can get, so right now you can make better music today. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. Link is at the top of the description. Don't miss out, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.